All right, we are back for episode 130 of Digital Divination.
Hello.
Are you waiting for me? Waiting for me to point out that I am
Yes.
Ron Lundeen, an
Always.
employee of Wizards of the Coast, and the opinions I express here are mine and not theirs.
Yes.
Hold on a second. Your name is Ron Lundeen. I thought your name was Ron Lundeem this whole time. I thought you were a
Ron,
different guy
to my
entirely.
knowledge, there is no Ron Lundeen working at Wizards of the Coast. And
Okay,
if
fair
there
enough.
is, his opinions are his own and not mine.
All right. Well, that is exciting. Hey, this is our, I talked about this a couple episodes ago. We are at 5 years now of Digital Divination today.
Woo.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years
Happy birthday to you.
without, I'm pretty sure, without missing an episode.
Well, this means you've been doing it, John, for 5 years, because I
Yeah.
was gone for some of them. I've been gone for some of them since, and Jason was
Yeah.
joined in the last couple of
late.
years, so...
That's true. And then I had to have Tondro fill in at one point as well for somebody. I don't remember what it was. So, but yeah, okay. Well, I'm pointing this out because there was one episode that we recorded early because I knew I was getting hospitalized for my transplant, and we
Oh,
still got it
yeah.
out. So anyway,
Amazing.
5 years. Well, I was thinking today, Jason pointed out to us both earlier that there's this really cool actual play coming out by Geek and Sundry.
Yeah. Godfall, right? Wait, it has a colon name of some
Lost
kind. I've already forgotten
Odyssey
what it is.
Godfall.
Lost Odyssey, Godfall. Almost Lost Omens, but not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you pay close attention to the trailer, there's a little blip at the beginning and the end to say that it's a Pathfinder game. And it's got like amazing people in it. Like honestly,
Yeah. I have the list here if you want me to tell you.
why don't you read
Yeah.
it?
Uh,
I know what it is, but
yeah,
why don't
so it
you
has
say it out
Matt
loud?
Mercer,
Mhm.
Reggie. So Matt Mercer is Daggerheart and Critical
Critical
Role.
Role is the big thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
famously,
yeah.
yeah.
And Reggie Watts, who was on the Corbin show, right? He was the musical guy for that. What's his? I
Corbin.
forget his first name now.
Oh, James Corden?
Corden, yeah, James Corden. He was on his
Yes.
show.
Reggie Watts is a
Yeah,
hilarious, like musical guy. It's just like I've seen him live a couple
yeah.
times. Very funny. He was I don't know if you listen to podcast Comedy Bang Bang, he did the theme song for that, and he was on the first couple episodes when that was a TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he was also the host of the failed US version of Taskmaster.
US version of what?
Taskmaster.
Oh,
If you know what Taskmaster
okay.
is, there was a failed US version. Like there was a number of failed US versions of lots of British
Oh,
things.
yeah. I can
Yeah.
see that.
Anyway, yeah, Reggie
Yeah.
Watts. Hilarious.
Deborah Ann Wool from I know her mostly from Daredevil. Has she been in other stuff?
Mm-hmm.
She did, we've done a lot of work with Deborah and Walt Wizards, and she's contributed a lot of stuff. So that's a name that
Oh,
I know.
cool.
Yeah, she's also got like I can't remember it might be called like We Play Games or something like that. She's got like this board gaming YouTube
Mm.
channel that she's on sometimes with a bunch of like I assume her friends, which is cool.
Felicia Day from the Guild, which I loved back in the day. I think that's really cool.
Mhm.
Brandon Ruth, Superman and the Atom. What's he play in? Is
Yep.
it the Atom? Yeah,
Yeah. Ray Palmer, Legends
yeah,
of
yeah,
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then their GM is Bill Rehor. I don't know how to say that. Rehor. Is that
Hmm.
right? But he's from Geek and Sundry. I'm not
Yeah, I assumed
familiar with
that.
him. You guys know of him at all? Ron?
Not
Well,
really. Sorry, Bill.
this is this is one of the places where I've got a lot of knowledge gap, because I know that we have a lot of people who are really involved in a lot of different actual play things, but I've never really watched a lot of actual play. And I have a ton of friends who are really big into Critical Role and
Right.
Dimension 20 and a lot of other actual play, but I don't know the people there very well. And so I've actually been in a situation where I've had the opportunity to meet some of these people, or been in the room with some of these people, and I don't know who they are. because I don't watch them.
Yeah.
And people,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
coworkers who do watch them are like, "Oh, we're so excited to be able to meet so and so." I'm like, "Can you tell me real quick who so and so is?" Um, I actually had to ask if it was critical to my job that I be more aware of actual play stars and the like, and other than just a general sense of knowing that we do it, I was told you don't need to know everybody, and but just be aware that this is a type of media that is popular and exists. I'm like, oh, I am aware of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Did you be like, I happen to be?
yeah. I'm actually. Oh,
I happen to
yeah,
record a
exactly.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh, actual plays are an interesting beast in that like I don't watch like every single one of them, and like things that I would kind of like to watch, I don't. They're often so long. Like each episode is like a small, like a movie length situation, 90 minutes
mhm,
to 2 hours, something like
yeah.
that. And I'm like, I get a little just like I don't know, I can't sustain
Mhm.
that for too long. Like, I don't know, I don't 'cause I don't watch, I know Critical Role has seasons, and I can do lots of episodes, and those episodes are just end up being so long, and they have so many people in them. I did watch, they were like the new trailer for the new like Critical Role series is out. I watched it and I was like, this has like 100 players, doesn't it? Like, what is going on? Like, they've just kept coming up, and I was like, oh, that'll be the end of the note. No, two more people are apparently in this. And it was wild to me, but it's probably why they're like a couple hours long, because there's just so many people in them. But like, yeah, I just don't like. I love the concept, because I like to do jamming and stuff like that, and it's fun to see how people do it, in this sort of like professional kind of environment. But I get burned out really quickly trying to watch them.
Mhm.
He said,
Well, this
kind of hypocritically.
this one in particular, it's just single episode. It's just one long game and that's it, or is it a whole series? Or I couldn't tell.
Ah, I can't tell.
Yeah,
It's
it's
for
true.
Extra Life, and that's generally like a one
It's
day
only
thing. So,
Right.
yeah.
And an
yeah.
excellent charity
I
as well.
Yeah.
So I was really
yeah.
excited to see Extra Life as sort of the name all over
Mhm.
they're getting a lot of support from this. That's great.
I'm like 90% sure it's just like a one shot kind of thing. But it probably will be like 3 or 4 hours
Mhm.
long.
Yeah.
The length of a game to sort of do that. But otherwise, I think it's just a one off.
Mhm.
I don't recall they gave a specific date for it to come out.
I didn't see it, but Extra Life has a day that they do their charity stuff on, and I presume it might
Oh,
be
so it
that.
might be connected with that.
Yeah.
This seems worth seeing, right? It's a lot of people whose names I know. They seem like they're really into it, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. So this may be kind of a low entryway for me to a low barrier of entry for me to get into one of these shows, knowing that it's sort of beginning and end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
a friend
yeah,
recommends oh, this you should watch this series. It gets really good about season 4, and then by season 12 it really kind of picks up. I'm like, no, 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 thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but along those lines, but one of the things that we had talked about is, Starfinder Second Edition is coming out. What if we had an actual play for that with a bunch of stars and things? Who hypothetically, we don't have any money or pull or anything to get like they had
yeah.
done, but hypothetically, who would we have in it? Who would GM it, and what would it be? What adventure would that be?
Like if it was a
Good
Starfinder actually,
question.
so people actually like famous people playing Starfinder characters. Are they playing famous Starfinder characters, or are they playing
It
I,
their
could be,
own
yeah.
characters? What do you think?
I think it would be, I mean, this is the situation, like this Godfall thing, is they're playing their own kind of like, new character. It might be fun to do something, just hey, here's who would you want to get the people most excited, the participants. I would say they could, craft something of their own to fit into the adventure or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And it doesn't. I would also, for me, okay. So to answer that last question first, I think it would be something new, something not set in, not set, not set in the Starfinder universe, but not one of the extant adventures that exist. It would probably be a little bit of
Mm,
some, just something brand new, maybe maybe to play on certain strengths, but also to kind of like think about like what other people are who's there, what they're maybe good at, and what
Right.
what kind of characters they wanted to play, how they would fit in with into something. But as it's gosh, I can't, I'm trying to think of like something just to say like a general thing. It would have to be. I mean, if I was planning this, probably something slightly comedic,
Okay,
at
that's
least
Right.
very reasonable.
racist, right? Which makes me think about, as always, makes me think about Galarian World. So or some other sort of like
Yeah.
amusement park
Yeah.
based like science sci-fi weird adventure like that, or I would try to squeeze this like the time travel adventure that I've always
Yeah.
had in mind for Starfinder. Try to make that happen.
Well, I think it should be something that would showcase Starfinder too, as well, because you could go
Yes.
like there was a one shot. It was is the rock music one. What you remember what the name of one I'm talking about?
Oh, Band on the
Band on
Run.
the Run, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a
Yeah.
fun, pretty light one shot. You could do it, but it doesn't really showcase Starfinder very well in there, I don't think, for an audience or people like that. So
So you think something
Yeah,
like
you'd have to maybe.
Junker's Delight, something like that, not that exactly, but
yeah, yeah. A special one shot like that. That's not, I wouldn't do like to Defy the Dragon, right? That's a real heavy, long,
Right.
long one
Yeah.
to do that.
Right.
But yeah, but Junker's Delight is actually one of the ones I was thinking of. I thought that encompasses a whole lot of different action, different skills, different things that I
Hmm.
think would be fun and would do that. So, just
so when you say one, so we're setting up something like we believe this Lost Odyssey to be, where it's maybe 3 to 4 hours, but it's kind of one self-contained story that really showcases
right.
all that Starfinder has. So in showcasing all the Starfinder has, it's got I think a little bit of comedic, like Jason you were saying, but it's going to have some of the sort of the magic, the tech, probably something to do with starships. The Starfinder Second Edition rules don't have a whole lot of starship stuff, but like going from place to place on a starship or having some sort of encounter that takes place on the party ship while they're going from a place to place. Maybe I don't, maybe I'm just
Oh
spitballing.
yeah, yeah. There you go. You do like a kind of like a Lost in the Drift kind of adventure. I think that you
Hmm.
Oh,
say
okay.
oh, you're the crew of this starship. Something you're going through the drift. Something goes wrong, and you've got to get out and get back home. Essentially, right? That's a nice self-contained little arc. It's this sort of very Starfinder setting part, right? And you throw in maybe and it's not doesn't all necessarily take place on the ship, but maybe there's an asteroid you got to get off of, or a chunk of plane, right? That has the magic parts of it. Like kind of mixes all that together. Something like that.
Or you could take
Mhm.
a really fun Starfinder Society scenario, like one of the live exploration extreme ones, something with Zoe,
Right,
so
yeah,
kind of it's
so
like a game show, but they do exploration and a bunch of other stuff. No starship in that though, because of the location. But I
yeah.
think that would be kind of fun. So you guys don't think Murder Metal City, the new special deluxe edition coming out, that's not going to be good enough because it's not funny. It's about murder.
I don't know if it's
I
gonna I
know.
mean, it is about murder. We don't know how funny it could be. That's very
Mhm.
noir. I mean, you have to get the right if you got the right cast for it, I mean,
Right.
right, definitely could be fun.
I
Well,
think that's
let's
probably true. And I
well let's
believe that
talk
Murder
about.
in Metal
Go ahead.
City, the reason I'm excited for it is because it seems to have a whole lot of real tactile elements to it. So it'll be fun to play. I don't know it will be as fun to watch other people play, even if they have those tactile elements. I want to
Okay.
play it is the
Yeah.
issue. I guess if we pick it,
I
then
want to
I
play it
want to be
too.
one of the people at the table.
Yeah, it's your dream cast if you wanna be one of the people that look, for me, just to lay my cards on the table, if I'm gonna get my dream cast, I might wanna GM it because I wanna work
That would
with
be
these
pretty fun.
people or, hang out with them for a little bit.
Well,
Okay, who?
so I don't know. I don't know. Like, I have a list of like players that I think would be great. I was telling Jason before, I kind of have like an old school list and a new school list. I had to make two lists because I realized
Oh
that one
boy.
list didn't really quite work out. The GM is the one I'm kind of a little stuck on because I really I got to tell you, I'll tell you both. You are both probably the two best GMs I know of in terms of running
Aw.
games, being
Shucks.
very quick on your feet and thinking and making it fun and exciting, explaining things. Ron doesn't do many voices, but Jason does quite a bit. So, other than you two, I mean, there are some other folks I know that might be okay. But if I were really going to push this out, maybe I get somebody who's a non-GM to sit there and fill the role.
A non-GM?
Okay.
Somebody who isn't traditionally GMing all the time, but is willing to step in and do this thing, so they're good at other stuff, right? And so the first person that
Okay.
came to mind that I thought would be really over the top and fun was William Shatner as a GM.
Would be totally over the top as
I thought, oh man, that'd be so wild. Anyway, but that's just kind of I hadn't really thought much. Ron, do you have a thought about who would GM this sort of thing?
No, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it because, man, I don't put a whole lot of thought into necessarily these shows. I just riff off the top of my head. But as soon
Yeah.
as Jason, as soon as you said it's got to be, maybe a little bit funny, I thought, okay, who can switch from who have I seen in media recently who I know can switch from serious to like really funny in kind of a deadpan way really fast? And it's so I immediately thought of Adam Scott is in Severance. I've started watching Severance, and from
Yes.
Parks and Rec. Right, that is like in Severance. It's a very like a serious but sad, like these were kind of
Yeah.
funny turns to it. I think it'd be great to see him around the table.
Yeah. Adam Scott. It'd be fun to just hang out with for sure.
All right. So if you're putting together your team of players, you want to have a good mix of folks, representation and stuff from things, who would you have on the table?
Jason, what do you think?
I'm gonna like kind of be a little bit it's just slightly semi selfish, but and also sort of
Of course.
some I would say kind of I don't know ringers for lack of a better word because I would pick a couple people who have done this before.
Mm.
At least one or
Oh,
two
okay.
people who've done this kind of
Okay,
Who have
thing
that's
played
fair.
role
before.
playing games
And
generally, or
a little bit of both. I would say no, and but mainly the couple people I'm thinking of are actual play people, right? I enjoy the heck. Here's the thing: is I was talking about watching actual play. What Dimension 20 does, I find very interesting, but I've like seen very little of it actually. The only season that I like watched all the way through is the one that's based off the sort of like it's the parody of like 80s action movies, and they use their own system for it, and it was kind of like a Jumanji situation when people made two characters, one from the outside world and the character that they inhabited. It was very fun, very cool, and it was interesting. And it was kind of my kind of a shtick that I kind of like of a kind of a semi comedic but also serious kind of thing. Anyway, obviously, would love to play with Brendan Lee Mulligan. He's got the chops to do like the GMA, but he sometimes plays in them too, and he's just basically good at doing character stuff and like or essentially anybody though from Dimension 20, like I think would be fun. Do you know that like a couple people who do that have their own sort of own podcast, and they, gosh, not I wouldn't say recently because I think it was about a year ago. They have a podcast called like Not Another D&D Podcast. I think they're not
okay,
another D&D show. And they do. I think they play a fair amount of D&D, but they also did. They went and grabbed the beginner box. The I think the second edition beginner box, and we're running through that adventure with tweaks, but I listened to at least the first half of it, and it was pretty hilarious with someone took the Ezrin a couple people made their own stuff, but then like someone took the Ezrin pregen and was just playing him like he was like, oh, I'm a failed wizard, but I'm 57 years old. Like I was like, yes, that's very, very good. Just and picked and just and it's, Emily Axford from Dimension. She like went in and just found all of our weirdest spells, like the one that this cantrip that does a musical accompaniment when you just that's all it does. And he's like, oh yeah, I've got that one. I'm gonna cast that. And they had a lot of good riffing there. So at least one or two people from that, right, would be great. I would also, and then sort of on the other side, thinking about other people who've done like voice work and character work, and would be kind of just, hey, I would like to hang out with, and kind of would be fun to meet. I listened to no, no, it's not. It only comes up every once in a while now. It used to be a podcast that was on more frequently, but now they sort of tapered off. Called the Thrilling Adventure Hour. It's got like Paul F. Tompkins and Paget Brewster and a bunch of other sort of like Mark Evan Jackson. If you he's been on, I think, Parks and Rec at least. This guy's funny, hilarious. Probably one of those individuals. They might not know the game. I think Paul F. Tompkins was on at least one episode of that Dan Harmon show where
Oh,
he
yeah, I
actually
remember that.
did Pathfinder.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he kind of knows the idea of what role playing is. Could be fun. But also like the character that Mark Evan Jackson plays is a space. He's literally a space cow. He's the sheriff of Mars. So that would be, he does done a little bit of sci-fi stuff. And
Let
then
me
there was
interrupt you because
yes.
I'm just riffing. As far as people who do voice actors that kind of know this stuff, Neil Newbon, who's the guy who did voice acted Asterion from the Baldur's Gate 3 games, who's sort of this
Oh
sultry
yeah,
vampire, is like
yeah.
both a great guy
Nice.
and loves to game and does voices, obviously. So
Right.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
him
yeah.
to my list.
That's great. Yeah, I was trying to think of other sort of other like video game voicers. There's another person. For some reason, I would also think, and I imagine that he might know more about this. Danny Pudi would be fun to do. A game
Sure.
with. And I think he's pretty good at also sort of doing improv and stuff like that. And he might have also been on that Harmon thing once
Okay.
too. That Harmon Quest thing.
Harmon Quest or whatever
And
that
now there
was.
was
Yeah, it was.
Harmon Quest. Yeah. And then there's one person whose name I was just looked up a second ago, and now I can't remember her name because I can never remember it. She's a very very yeah, Deborah Wilson. That's
Okay.
what it is. She's a very prolific voice actress who's been in a lot of like stuff like a lot of DC cartoons and video games, and she used to be on Mad TV. So that would be fun.
Comedic job.
That's sort of it. Yeah.
John, you said you had.
And
Oh no, go ahead.
so with all these people who I would be completely super intimidated by, I still would want to try to jam, but I would probably embarrass the hell out of myself. Thank you. That's my time. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right, excellent.
But John, you said you had 2 full lists ready to go to really show us
Yeah,
up
but
for our spontaneity here.
now I'm thinking I think a little different. I was just thinking people in sci-fi that I'd love to have around the table, and now I'm thinking, well, I do know there are people, actors and stuff out there that play D&D that would be fun, for an actual play of Starfinder as well, that have done some of the stuff. But
Henry Cavill and Vin Diesel and
right, Stephen Colbert,
Stephen Colbert, absolutely,
yeah,
yes,
that's another one.
Yeah.
He's active in that. I thought Simon Pegg would be a lot of fun too. You're
oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
shoot, yeah,
for
good
things
point.
like that. But yeah, no, my list was like thinking of like kind of a mixture of space related folks or sci-fi folks on there. Pedro Pascal, Katie Sackhoff, Zendaya.
I'd be very
Paul-
afraid of Katie Sackhoff. Like I wouldn't want to do her character a lot of damage. I would be really intimidated
well,
by that.
It'd be intimidating.
Carl Urban, I just love in so many different things. He would be really
Yeah.
intimidating for a lot of stuff. I think Keanu Reeves would be a lot of fun for something like that.
Big name.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of thinking of kind of a mixture of folks, and these are kind of the younger crew. Then the old school folks, like Sigourney Weaver, Carrie Fisher, Gillian Anderson, Patrick Stewart. You imagine Patrick Stewart?
Oh yeah.
At a table, that would be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Patrick Stewart and Samuel L. Jackson together, I think would be so crazy.
Have to riff off each other, I think.
Yes. So, but yeah, that's what I was but that's like a pie in the sky. This is
but
like
you didn't get to Mark
we
Hamill, who also connects to a lot of the DC voice acting, right?
Yes.
So
I thought about him, and I have Harrison Ford on there. I don't know. I was trying to only make 6 people per table. That's the
Okay.
problem. So
Fair.
because when we get more, I don't want to do the hundred cast of hundreds, So yeah,
No, you want to keep it. You want to keep it manageable,
Right.
yeah,
because also you're gonna have to deal with all these people's
yeah.
schedules
Oh, for
and
sure.
get them on the set at the same
And
time.
I
Yeah,
actually think 5 people, which I think maybe they had 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5
yeah.
players. I think that's actually a really good size.
Is that
When you
5 play that's not 5 play that's a including the GM, right?
5 players plus the GM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 5 is good. We had that for our first season of first season, one of our seasons of Intrepid Joes. We had 5 players. I think it was the first one, and that things went a lot faster than when we bumped it up to 6.
Mhm.
But we got to have Eleanor in there, so that was great. So
Well, and I think
Mhm.
that having the 6 people that we have for a cosmic birthday is just about right because that
hmm
we're testing all 6 of the classes.
hmm
So that
Yeah.
feels like we'd know what all of the classes are but one, and that would be a perpetual mystery to us.
yes, yes. What about you, Ron? Who would you want to have around the table then?
Man, I've been throwing my names out as I go. So,
Oh, okay, you don't have
gosh,
anybody else. That was
who
it.
have I so far said? Right, I don't have a list, so I guess I just looking at people that I've seen that have done kind of, it seemed like they would be fun stuff recently. So, um, or
Mhm.
as you guys have mentioned, who does voice acting? What might be kind of fun? Celebrities that have heard game that might be kind of fun. That's those sort of people I've been throwing out. I think I threw out 6 names already, so I'm done.
You're done. Okay,
Sure. Okay.
but
It's leave it to an exercise to the listener to gather Ron's list
No,
together
do right now.
into
It was
one.
Adam Scott. I remember um, it was Mark Hamill and Henry Cavill and Vin Diesel. Um, and there's some in the middle there.
The guy who plays
Yes,
Asterion,
Neil
the voice
Newbun.
actor who plays
I mean, there we
Asterion,
go. There's
Neil Newman.
there's
Yes.
5. Great. I'll run
There
it
you
for
go.
him.
yes.
Oh, good. Okay, there you go.
All right. Well, I don't think anything like that's going to happen, but Jason, if you have any
Wait,
polls,
wait,
suggest
wait,
something.
what? Wait. Jason wagged
I
his
had a pull.
finger.
I don't have that kind of pull. No, I did. So, but one of the things that's I want to kind of bring up is very another question to sort of add on to this is that if you watch that trailer, they're doing something with VR in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
They haven't said anything, but it's clear that they every once in a while the cast members are putting on the VR goggles and looking at something. Do you have a gimmick for your actually, or if we say like, oh, let's say it's also VR. What is your VR show like? What do you like? Is there something that you can really sort of like something that we could do for Starfinder that would be really thematic? I mean, VR would be pretty thematic for Starfinder, and then you could do a situation where it's literally like, okay, maybe there's maybe there's a Tron kind of thing happens, right?
Mhm.
Where you go into a program or do some hacking, you've got to wear the VR goggles to do that, and it's still the same system and all that, but like something you get to see something different when you're hacking because you've got the VR goggles on.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, something like the opening of Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets, which I found to be an incredibly enjoyable movie, where
Yeah,
they've got to put the goggles on to be able to see into the other location or to be able to
yeah,
reach into it, but
yeah.
you have to do it from a separate location because it's so carefully guarded. That was really difficult, I think, to
Hmm.
pull off both as a heist and as a filmmaking event. And that's the kind of thing that you could put together. It's like, well, you've got to be in 2 separate places, and you've got this technological gizmo that lets you connect them, but only in this specific way. And then being able to somehow show that to the
Right.
viewers of
Yeah.
the viewers of the actual play would be kind of fun.
Yeah, or some sort of augmented reality where, there's an overlay that can go on top of at certain points when a character is talking in character that all of a sudden they can overlay for the viewer to see, oh, this is what they look like type of thing
Oh, the character
yeah,
looks
rather
like,
than
yeah.
just watching a table of people, talking and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. Actual plays have done sort of
Yeah.
that. Sort of like a little bit of animation after the
Right.
fact that sort of like shows that what just happened, what's going on. Like we were talking about, Harmon Quest did that a bunch. I think sometimes the Dimension 20 will sometimes have like these like cuts to little like not necessarily full blown animations, but little visuals that you get to get to look at, which is good. Probably I'm only speaking from experience. Maybe Critical Role
Mm.
does something like that too every once in a while. But doing that, but like having it almost be like a VTuber suite kind of situation where like it literally gets laid over, and it looks like it's the same place, but then the person gets
Right.
a sort of a fully animated character over there, moving to their mouse, and it's you do it in such a way that it's maybe it's real time or something, and that if they do something wacky, it doesn't the model will model it.
Yeah, like augmented reality would be, kind of thing.
So we're
Yeah.
not only throwing an unprecedented amount of money at this cast, but also the tech we're throwing an unprecedented
course.
amount of money at as well.
Why
Okay,
not?
sure.
It's a dream
And we
project.
film it on the moon.
That's just impractical. Well, just film it on the set in which they filmed the moon landing.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. That's all. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of actual plays, we're slowly wrapping up ours. You know how many sessions we got left, Jason?
I don't know. I've forgotten where we're
I mean,
at.
an infinite number since we've had to cancel a couple of times. Not that the listeners would know because we banked episodes ahead of
No.
time.
Yeah.
We bank them ahead
right.
of time, and so it's good.
Yes.
A few more. I mean, I would say what we've recorded is about halfway.
No, it's
so
got to be
far,
more than
so-
halfway.
No, we're not through chapter 2 yet. You're not even like
okay.
part
All
of the way
right.
through chapter. You have a whole chapter.
Well,
to go after
that's
chapter 2.
good.
Yeah.
That means we'll have some play.
There's
I
a lot
was
of
just
stuff
getting
to do.
excited.
We'll have
What?
I just said a lot of stuff to do. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I was getting excited because Jason mentioned how he wants to run this Murder in Metal City thing, and I'm thinking that sounds like a fun thing to do next.
Wait, did you
All right.
volunteer that? That's
I don't remember volunteering
that
that, but I
sounds a
guess
lot
I
of
just
fun.
You
did
said you would
volunteer.
love to
Thanks,
run it.
Jason, for
So
volunteering
thanks.
to
All
run
right.
Murder in Metal City.
Oh, boy, boy. Did I say that? All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, no, that's a little.
Well, now I gotta go read it.
It's out. He's got it.
No,
You can be
it's
well
all
in
external
advance and
stuff.
prepped.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a slight segue off of what we normally would talk about, but I think
Go listen to our actual play interested audience members
yes.
because we have one and we've been doing
You'll
that
love
one a
it.
long time too.
We have more episodes of that
Yeah.
than this. I just posted episode 152 for tomorrow, so
Wow.
All right.
so it's a long ways. All right, well, gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure.
Yes. Good times.
I'm John.
And I'm Ron.
And I'm Jason, and this has been Digital Divination.